What's up, everybody? It's your man J Rock, and I'm coming at you with another episode of the J Rock Show. And we're talking run to one action today, man. That's right, the run to one started last night and it got kicked off in the biggest way possible with Run DMV pulling off a 71-63 upset, knocking off the defending champion Beast of the East. Wow, just wow. That is all I have to say after watching that game last night and being on call for it. You know, even more shocking considering looking at Beast of the East stat line, you had Kyrie Brown with 13, Losi Thomas with 11, KPJ with 10, Levin Cutler with 10, Tyree Moy with 9. Kyrie Brown, I don't think anyone would have expected to be the leading scorer for them last night, but he stepped up and knocked down a very efficient rate of the shots he took, shooting 62% from the field, 3 or 4 from 3. Very efficient night from him, especially given the fact that when you look at their rotation in terms of minutes played last night, you had Losi had 21 minutes, Kasim had 24, Levin had 19, Tyree had 17. Out of those 5 players, Kyrie had the least amount of minutes and the most amount of points scored. So I think he is definitely one to keep an eye on in the future. But I also got to shout out JoJo Kearney, the future Georgetown Hoya. 8 points, 14 rebounds, 3 assists, and 5 blocks. He did everything that he possibly could have for Beast of the East to come out with the win, and it just didn't happen for him. And I knew going in my heart in my mind, that if Beast of the East was going to go on another championship run, they were going to have more offensively from Levin Cutler. Yes, in my eyes, he is more of a defensive first player, but still, he's your best player. You got to have more from him offensively. And I think it was for the large start of the game, at least first half, he only shot the ball 1 or 2 times, and he ended up finishing with like 10 attempts, but you got to have more from your best player. And then you look at Run DMV, only one player in double digits scoring last night, Keith Singleton, 29 points on 70% shooting from the field. And out of the 20 field goal attempts he took last night, only 2 of them were from 3, and he made 1. He was getting all of his points, just relentlessly cutting, diving, attacking the basket. Keith Singleton was simply just unstoppable last night. And then this was the very surprising part of Run DMV's win for me. Going into last night, I thought that if Run DMV was going to pull off the upset, their best play was going to come from their very experienced backcourt. But outside of Keith Singleton, now let me step back. Their backcourt still played a very good, efficient game, but their front court was what really surprised, I think, a lot of people yesterday. Kadarius Rumpf, 8 points, 9 boards, 6 assists. He always seemed to just be putting himself in the right position and getting it done. And in my opinion, that was Kadarius Rumpf's best game in SimWorld Prep in his career to this point. And then, John Hudgens, Malik Duffin, VJ George, everyone was stepping up for Run DMV last night. All right, now the second game of last night saw H-Town fall to the Yacht Club, and the key to this game was, could Almighty Soul carry H-Town all the way? And Almighty Soul, 26 points, 10 boards. He started off the game on an absolute tear offensively. And then in the second half, you saw the Yacht Club and Coach Laster make the defensive change to putting Josiah Cook directly on Almighty Soul. And that made all the difference in the world in the second half. And once that switch and adjustment was made, Soul just didn't have an answer. And then Vincent Magic, 13 points, 3 boards, 9 assists. JMO stepped up on the defensive end, even had a couple of nice dunks last night. Corey Yams, I would have liked to have seen more from, but that's just the nature of the beast. And then you look at the Yacht Club, had 5 players in double digits. Trey Willis, the Florida Gator commit, just being a madman out on the court. Darius McBride, borderline triple-double. And Josiah Cook, only 5 points, but 6 boards and 6 blocks, showing why he was Defensive Player of the Year. And this was one of the craziest things that I came to realize after this game last night, was that De'Aaron Cruz only played 1 minute. He was only on the court for 1 minute in last night's game. So talk about, the fall off for De'Aaron Cruz. What is going on there? But, Yacht Club, they move on to the second round, after picking up the win in enemy territory last night. Hats off to them on that performance. And then we had an intercontinental region matchup between SimWorld Europe and SimWorld Latin America. And this one was never really in doubt at any point. SimWorld Europe, 83-50 win. Double-double from Ivan Suslov. Ivanov finished 1 rebound off of a double-double. Ty Merca, was 3 assists shy of joining them. Carlos Buffini, the all-around contribution that SimWorld Europe got from from pretty much their top 6, top 7 players that's the kind of all-around performance that you need, or balanced, offense, if you will, in order to go on a championship run. Excuse me. Then you look at SimWorld Latin America. Red Jean-Terre, 16 points, 8 of 12, did not shoot an attempt from 3. I was really disappointed by the play of Richard Hennessy, the Miami commit last night. I knew if Latin America was going to win, they were going to have more from him, and it just didn't happen. Akiyama Ravello only shot twice from 3, finished with 5 points. Leon Stark shot 7 times from 3 and did not make a single one. Latin America, they just could not knock down whatever efficient shots. They were not very efficient with their shots, excuse me. And SimWorld Europe just simply was the better team, plain and simple. And then to finish off that slate last night, we were treated to another close game between Rocky Mountain Monsters and the Heartland Zombie Stars, with Justin Bell leading Rocky Mountain to an 86-82 win, finishing with 27 points and 1 assist. And behind him, he had Dick Pate with 19 points, Lucas Banks with 17. 43 of Rocky Mountain's 65 shots last night came from those three players. And individually, their respective field goal percentages were 64, 50, and 70. When you have a top three like that shooting a combined 43 shots and making that much of a high percentage of them, you're simply not going to beat them. And also, Devontae Schindler, Xavier Mann, did a very great job, attacking and taking control of the boards. Exactly what you need to do. The positioning, everything, they did it the right way. And Heartland, Benari James, 28 points, 12 of 17 from the field, 4 of 6 from 3. You could not have asked more from him in last night's game. Barkley had 14 behind him, 4 of 5 from the field, 2 of 2 from 3. Plachi Young, DeAdrian Hilario, all in double digits. Heartland was also very efficient with their scoring last night, in terms of percentage, what have you. But in the end, they just didn't do enough outside of that. And when you have Rocky Mountain's top three go off like they did, Heartland just simply didn't do enough in order to come away with that win. And so Rocky Mountain now moves on to the second round. And I'm excited to see if they can keep this up here in the run to one, because they are definitely a team who I think could surprise a lot of people. All right, that's going to do it for today's episode of the J-Rock Show. Thank you all for tuning in. See you next week. And as always, see the game, be the game. J-Rock out.